Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Race to 100. I am Rick Storsell.
And I'm Neil Batang. Thank you for tuning in.
And we are on episode number 52.
And what are we going to talk about today?
Today, so this has been making the headlines for the past couple of days. A world-shaking event. It is the thing known as BREXIT.
BREXIT. The number one topic being Googled in the UK/Great Britain right now. People are unaware of what Brexit means or what the EU is. So
what is the EU? Enlighten us.
I was going to say the same thing to you, but if you're going to give me the stand,
I'll totally give you the stand, man.
The European Union. The
European Union.
A bunch of countries in Europe have formed a group, a coalition, a union, and one of the countries would like to leave this union.
Correct.
England.
So this is something that dates all the way back to Winston Churchill and World War II, where he gave a famous speech that said that more or less the world, the European world needs to come together to create this coalition, this nation of states, this United Nations, which ended up taking the form over the course of time as the EU, which is made up of 28 member states, and this has been something that has been in place since 1993, I believe, since the most recent country has joined. Okay. So this vote that took place was a historic vote because this would change the trajectory of what the world economy looks like for decades to come. This would fundamentally change the world. So why? Why did Britain want to leave? Why did this Brexit happen? Do you have any idea?
Based on what I've discussed with you a little bit and what I've observed/read in the media, I know they would like to be their own state, their own entity, would like to build a wall that will keep out other countries,
make Britain great again.
Basically, make Britain great again. For, I guess, what's the word I'm looking? I don't want to call them racists, but it kind of sounds like this is along the line of what's happening.
So a lot of the reason, the proponents of those who wanted to leave the European Union were very upset at the fact that all of this money was going overseas to all of these other countries, that they were allowing migration into their country from Muslims, from the African continent, and because transportation is so much simpler when it comes to Europe, it's much closer geographically. To come to the U.S., you have to travel a ship across the sea, right? Mm-hmm.
Whereas or an airplane, people don't travel ships. This guy is stuck in the 1770s.
Listen,
he's on a ship.
I
wonder if people still take. I mean, I guess you can, but I'm not sure how often people take ships across the Atlantic anymore who aren't in the armed forces. But
you know, you got the Channel. You have the you have easy transportation. Across, migration is something that's much more fluid. So you have the Syrian refugees that are flowing upwards, and what a lot of these individuals in Britain were seeing, and this is the demographics of those who voted to leave, are relatively uneducated, rural inhabitants who do not believe that this migration is doing anything good for the country, and that is what they see as the primary threat. They see migration, they see a pollution of their culture as something that needs to be stopped.
And this is why they would like to leave the union.
Yes, and it was David Cameron who is. Do you know who David Cameron is?
No, why did you enlighten me this time?
Prime Minister of Great Britain,
okay,
who recently resigned. He said that he's going to step down because this vote passed, and Boris Johnson. I believe it's Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson. Is it Boris Johnson? Boris
Johnson.
Boris?
Who?
Someone.
Okay, besides that.
But basically, this he's stepping down in the wake of the vote taking place, and his attitude was that he held this vote because he believed that it wouldn't pass. He said, okay, I'm going to appease the most radical, racist, xenophobic aspects of my conservative party,
okay,
not believing that the country as a whole would actually vote to leave the European Union. Turns out he was wrong. He's a gambling man.
Okay.
You know, he's somebody who likes to roll the dice, and as a result, he lost.
Okay.
And so he's stepping down. And as a result, you have the British pound dropping to its lowest amount for the first time in 30 years.
7%, you guys. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the British economy, but it's a very expensive economy. I mean, it's a
Fifth largest in the world.
Fifth largest in the world. Very expensive and pricey to go there. So for your investors out there, if you guys are watching, make sure you buy some pounds and make sure you buy some pounds with the intent to flip them. It sounds like a Gucci man somewhere right now, flipping pounds. Make sure you buy some pounds with the intent to flip them once the economy picks back up. Because ultimately, the Brits, I mean, they have a very strong economy. They'll be just fine. It will rise.
I don't
in
think
the months.
so.
No, you
No.
what?
The stock market dropped 600 points. The British pound dropped to its lowest in 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
You have this massive economic freefall. No economist in the world has said that Britain leaving the UK or the EU will be a good thing for the world economy. It is only going to be a bad thing.
But they're such a strong.
Going to
But they are such a strong economy that they can sustain the hit, and they will come. You don't think they'll come back from it?
That's what they. I mean, that's what they say.
I guess we'll have to see.
So you add to these different components the fact that we have had economic growth for the past 7 years. Barack Obama has been a phenomenal president when it comes to increasing economic growth. That would be the longest time since the Great Depression that we have continued sustained economic growth. You add this component to the mix, and the likelihood of there being another worldwide recession is astronomically great. Like we are
because of Britain.
We are in
exiting the
danger.
EU. Okay.
Yeah, we are in danger. Economically, we are facing something that is very, very uncertain.
That is very crazy. That is
So I
very
mean,
crazy.
you know, the reality and this is the crazy part too,
Yeah.
is that I look at all these news stories, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, all of that, and they treat it as like a sideshow, like something that's not super
Because I think
important.
everyone's under the pretense, Rick, that Britain will be fine.
It's not a sideshow though.
Yeah.
I genuinely do not believe
You
this is a sideshow.
think the issue is much larger than they're portraying it to be in the media?
I think that the ripple effects that are going to be caused by Great Britain leaving
will be much greater than anyone thinks.
will impact us directly.
Yeah.
We will have loss of jobs, we will have loss of income, we will have loss of revenue. All of these things are going to create this snowball effect that's going to lead to yet another recession, I believe. We're on the precipice right now.
Well, I guess how would whatever's happening in Great Britain affect us economically
So
speaking?
you think about it, Great Britain is the fifth
Largest economy in the world.
In the world.
Where are we? Do you know where the U.S. is?
We're number one.
We're number one. Okay.
Between us and China, actually.
Okay.
China could be number one.
Okay.
I think China might actually be number one. But number 1 and 2, U.S. and China.
Okay, but even if we're a larger economy, prior to Brexit, the value of the pound was greater than the value of the American dollar.
Correct. But that's all relative.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
That's all
That's another
relative.
talk. We'll have
So,
some other time. All right. Please continue.
Yeah. So when you look at the specifics of what's going on right now, we live in a globalized economy. And
Yes.
for me as a poli-sci major, you know, that was something that we talked about a lot, was globalization. What does that actually mean? It means we're all interconnected, which means in the same way that China can't screw us over by saying, we want you to pay us
So
our debts,
for the
we're
viewers
all
listening,
interconnected.
this is what I just took away from what Rick just said. We are a globalized economy, right? So even though we're each valuable in different ways, different components, we all make up parts of a greater whole. So if one of us takes a hit,
The rest of
the
us.
ripple effect that you talked about earlier, we will all inevitably take a hit.
For the world's largest economies,
Okay.
yeah, I mean
Okay.
that
Okay,
happens.
that was a good way. That was a good way to explain it.
So
Okay.
this matters. This matters to U.S. citizens. This matters to all of us. And the fact that we're treating this as like a sideshow is just, you know, it's sad to me.
Dude,
because
we should buy some pounds, man. We should buy some pounds, seriously.
I think it's going to keep dropping. I think you give it a couple more weeks and then maybe buy a bunch of pounds.
Give it a couple more weeks.
Give it a couple more weeks.
We give it a couple more
Watch
weeks.
it go.
Buy some pounds and just hold on to that, and we'll see what happens in the years to come.
Ooh, also, side note, there's a petition going on right now to re-vote.
Yeah, yeah.
and
referendum, right?
It has another referendum, 2 million signatures already, and we're taping this earlier in the week. So yeah, we'll see what happens when it comes to if Britain actually chooses to try and reverse this catastrophic decision that they have made. We'll see. I don't know, man.
But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in again. Feel free to like, comment, or subscribe.
We gotta have a fun episode.
Cool. Hey man,
like this past couple of ones.
Listen, we're getting better again. None of this would be possible without you guys. More episodes to come. We're at this was 52?
52, man.
Okay, so we're at 52. We've got 48 more to go. None of this would be possible.
Give us some thoughts too.
Give us some thoughts.
We love feedback as to
what more comments.
Yeah, please comments.
More comments.
Stuff that you'd like to hear about. Stuff that you appreciated hearing about. We love that stuff.
So once again, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Race to 100. Bricks, do you want to say anything else, man?
We will catch you next time on the Race to 100.